Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to walk you through one more example on how to create a pivot chart, and this time we'll do a pie chart instead, just to show you something a little bit different. So again, I'm back on that media log worksheet, and I just have cell B4 selected, the corner of the table, to tell Excel which data set I'm using, right? So where I'm getting my data from. And just like before, I'm going to go up here to insert. I'm going to go over to pivot chart. Make sure the correct table is selected here. This is called media. We had renamed it a few videos ago, so it is the correct table. And again, you could have your charts put on a new worksheet or on an existing worksheet. We're going to use the existing worksheet, and we're going to use user engagement. So I'm going to select or just click into the location area and go to the worksheet that I want. So I want user engagement, and I'm going to click cell B4. And then don't forget, just like before, it's going to create both a pivot table and a pivot chart that correlates to that specific table as well. And I click OK. All right, so this time we're going to look at some different information here. Again, we're focusing on engagement. We're going to look at the views, the likes, the comments, and the shares. So we're going to select all of those and put those down into our values field down here, our sum values field. All right, so we're going to do views, we're going to do likes, comments, and shares. And I'm just going to click those, and you can see that they went down automatically into our sum values there. So it's going to default to that box down there, but you can also manually drag them as well, like we've done in previous videos. So those are all where we want to go. And remember, because there's more than one set of sum values here, it also creates the sum values in the legend as well. So you can see that right there. And then in the back, you're creating the pivot table at the same time. So your book would like us to just do a little bit of playing around here. We're going to move the sum values here to our axes instead. So instead of the total being on the axis, you have the labels, sum of views, likes, comments, and shares as your x-axis labels instead. We're going to change this to a pie chart. So I'm going to go up to the design tab. I'm going to change the chart type, and I'm going to go ahead to pie. And I'm going to select the first one. Again, as a personal preference, 3D charts really are not very good. They tend to just distort the shape of the different pie segments. So we just want to go with a basic pie chart. Again, 9 times out of 10, your basic ones are the best ones because they're easy to read and follow along with. And that's really the goal of graphs, is to make the data easier to understand. So I'm going to do the basic one here and just go ahead and click OK. Oh, and let's see, I think I missed something. Hang on, let's go back and try it again. Oops. All right, so make sure I have my pie chart selected. I'm going to go ahead and click, there we go. I must not have clicked OK all the way. So now there is my pie chart. And again, you can see that the different segments refer to sum of views, likes, comments, and shares as well. We're going to leave these as the sum for right now. We're going to do a little bit of tweaking though. So I'm just going to move over here, and I'm going to change my name. Sum of views, sum of likes, sum of comments. This is a little bit maybe cumbersome, so I can actually change this right here in the table. And if I double click in, I can change my name, and we're just going to change it to viewed. And I'm going to leave it as a sum, but if I wanted to, again, change that formula, I could. And you can see that it does update in my chart as well. I'm going to change the second one to liked. I'm going to change the third one to commented. And I'm going to change the fourth one to shared. Okay, and again, we're talking about engagement here. So people can engage with social media either by viewing it, by liking it, by actually commenting on it, or by sharing it, right? So those are the different categories that we're focusing on. And you can see as I made a change here, I also got that updated change over here as well. I can change my names. So if I go to my table first, I can go ahead and rename that. up to Pivot Table Analyze. And let's see, we're going to rename this as Engagement Pie. Pivot, oops, pivot. I can also go ahead and change the different features. So if I go back to my chart here and I look at design, I can go in and tweak them. So if I prefer a different design, I could go ahead and use that instead. So here is my pie chart. And again, you can play around with the different designs that you may or may not like. You can also go to quick layout as well and change your design here. So for instance, this one will also put in the percentages, which again makes that I think a little bit easier to see. So we can click that layout. But again, you can come back and change in different features, whatever you find to be the most helpful here. Of course, we can go ahead and change things like our title. We'll call this user responses, for instance, and we can change where the legend is, and we can, again, click on or off these field features as much as we want to. So I'll pause the video here, and if you want to keep editing, you can. Just like before, we can also go ahead and move this pivot chart. So we can go ahead and move this to our dashboard if we want to. And again, we've seen those in the previous video, so if you want to, you can practice moving and following along in your text, and again, just editing some of those features. But this is a nice chart as well. So having that pie chart where we're using those totals, but then the pie chart is breaking it down a percentage as well. So we can see most of the engagement here, almost all of it was between people who are viewing it and liking it, right? So there were still some people who were commenting and who had shared posts, but most people were engaging by viewing or by liking.